Support for the Leadoff on WGLT and WGLT.org comes from the Central Illinois Regional Airport, offering seasonal nonstop service to Denver. Outdoor concerts, hiking, and more activities in the Mile High City are one flight away on Frontier Airlines. Close, convenient, Sierra. More at CIRA.com.
The Bloomington City Council member who pushed for a special commission on gun violence says there's only so much the commission can do. It's one of the things you need to know to start your day for Thursday, August 29th. I'm Ryan Denham, and this is WGLT's The Leadoff. Now let's lead off with how a landmark legal settlement could mean fewer dollars for Illinois State University athletics and fewer athletes. Here's WGLT's Eric Stock.
ISU is preparing for a $500,000 annual drop in revenue if a proposed legal settlement is approved. The NCAA agreement aims to provide back pay damages for former Division I athletes over 10 years. ISU Interim Athletics Director Jeri Beggs says it'll take creative ways to offset that money.
We're going to figure out how to deal with this reduction in NCAA money, and we're going to do that by selling tickets and selling sponsorships and selling our donors on the idea of supporting us in new and unique ways.
ISU takes the largest financial hit among all Missouri Valley Conference schools because it sponsors the most sports teams. The Redbirds might also need to reduce their number of student athletes if this agreement is approved. The proposed settlement caps how many student athletes can compete in each sport. ISU's Jeri Beggs says the university is currently about 50 athletes over that cap.
And you can see the positives and the negatives of that. Negative, what if they only came to be a walk-on on the football team and maybe now they don't come to Illinois State?
Beggs says fewer student-athletes would reduce strain on the department's athletic supports, such as strength and conditioning and academic services. For The Leadoff, I'm Eric Stock.
Here's some other stories we're following in the WGLT newsroom. City officials say the final leg of a major road improvement project in South Bloomington will generate economic development and improve safety in the area. The Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum in Springfield is making more than 1,000 Lincoln-era photos available for free online. The pictures have been digitized and enhanced, and until now, only researchers have seen them. And it's time for Illinois residents to submit their ideas for a new state flag. People can mail their ideas or submit them to the Secretary of State's office online between September 3rd and October 18th. The newly created State Flag Commission will choose 10 designs for the public to vote on early next year. You can find more on these stories at WGLT.org. Gun violence is down statewide, but the proportion of incidents related to domestic violence has grown exponentially. In a recent city council meeting, Bloomington Mayor Mboka Milamwe urged the city's Special Commission on Safe Communities to explore the intersection between domestic violence and gun violence. That comes as the community is reeling from a recent murder-side in Normal. Bloomington's Ward 7 City Council member Mollie Ward pushed for the Special Commission's formation. She tells WGLT's Lauren Warnicki that such a tragic event is not the only form of domestic gun violence.
If I have an abusive partner who has a gun, that's a problem. And if that abuser is threatening me with that gun, to me, that's a form of gun violence that we need to be looking at, we need to be tracking, we need to be addressing.
One sticking point is the revocation of FOID cards when someone has an order of protection. That was really specifically in this case an issue that he said he had lost his FOID card and then used it to purchase a gun. Your thoughts specifically on the FOID card complexity and how BPD might actually enforce those FOID card revocations when someone is the subject of an order of protection.
Some of this veers beyond the scope of what a municipality can do to ensure that people are aware, that municipalities and police departments are aware of those kinds of things. And so I think that one of the things that we as a municipality can do certainly is to advocate for those kinds of national and state level solutions that are above what we can do locally, because as people have rightly pointed out, you may not be able to buy the firearm here, but if you go across state lines, you can do that pretty easily. And if nobody is tracking that across state lines, I'm not so sure what the Bloomington Police Department could have done, or the normal police department in any of those situations could do, if there's no national or interstate way of tracking that kind of thing.
This recently became really personal to you when some gunfire made contact with your home while you were here. I'm curious about what created such passion in you for this issue, even prior to it affecting you personally, and kind of how you've managed the aftermath of that incident.
Some years ago, I was at a vigil just a few blocks from my home where somebody died by gun violence. That really brought home to me that this is not just out there, somebody else's neighborhood. This is literally blocks from my home. Fast forward just a little bit of time from there, the summer of 2020 was the first time, actually, my family and I experienced gun violence on our property. Our home wasn't struck, but there was an instance of people shooting at another house from our property, and they struck that house. They were targeting some folks that my family knew. They were my neighbors. As I listened to my children talk about that experience and realized that I, as their parent, had let them down, frankly, because it's my job as their parent. They're adults now, but even so, it's my job as a parent to protect my children, and I couldn't protect them from experiencing that. That was the summer that a position came open on City Council, and at that point, I was asked, would you fill this position? And I thought to myself, well, okay, here's the moment where you can stop talking about things, stop praying about things, stop marching for things, but actually maybe go do something.
The Special Commission on Safe Communities says Bloomington is on pace to have a bad year for shootings, with 30 so far. The annual average is 33. Last Friday, a teenager was arrested in connection with the shooting that struck Mollie Ward's home and hospitalized a man. You can read or listen to more of Lauren Warnicki's interview with Ward at WGLT.org. And that's it for today. I'm Ryan Denham. The show was edited by Rosalie Truback. You can subscribe to The Leadoff on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.